Hi and welcome back to Bike Speeds. This week we're going to be converting my own Cannondale bike to tubeless tyres. We're going to be fitting Cannondale GP5000s. We're going to show you the process of fitting those tyres. We're going to take the bike out and give a review on the tyres and how they perform. And then more importantly, I'm going to give the tyre a puncture whilst out on the road and talk you through the process of how we solve that on the side of the road. So let's get started. So the first thing for me to do is to remove the wheel. They both come out nice and smoothly, and then I'm going to remove this very old Schwalbe tyre that was on the bike when we bought it. These tyres are around 10 years old. We've actually swapped these over from the original wheels to these wheels that we upgraded because we wanted to do the tubeless video as a completely separate video. So first of all, we work those off and remove those, and the first thing in terms of the tubeless conversion is to fit a new valve. I'm actually using quite a long one here. It's 80mm long. That gives me plenty of tolerance for removing the core and seating the tyre with the pump straight onto the valve body itself. You want to allow plenty of leeway there and plenty of room. And now I'm going to pop on the Cannondale GP5000 tubeless tyre. It is actually possible to put most tubeless tyres onto most rims without using tyre levers, providing you work these as I am here to the centre of the rim, and then you will find they'll usually pop on. But this tyre wheel combination worked really well for actually fitting these. It was nice and easy really. So I'm going to remove the valve core itself. I'm going to give this an initial blast with the compressor. What that will enable me to do is get air into the tyre rapidly to seat it onto the rim of the wheel. Now I can work quite fast getting the sealant in, and that won't pop back off the wheel in that time, and then I can inflate it with a normal pump. So we're popping in some tubeless sealant here. We're using the Oxford range here. I like this sealant because it is nicely infused with particles, and it really seals a puncture very quickly. This is my absolute go-to at the moment. I find this sealer to be very good. Now I'm going to just wipe down that valve there, just clean up and make sure everything's nice. You can see very minimal mess there by injecting that sealant into the wheel. Pop in the valve core itself, and because we've already seated the tyre, we can just pump that up quite easily with a standard pump. We're inflating that to 60 psi rather than the 80 psi that used to run in the clincher tyre. So with these tubeless tyres you can run slightly lower pressures, and we have actually got a slightly larger tyre too. Now the other consideration here is the spares that I carry on the bike. I don't need to carry inner tubes. I'm removing one of my CO2 cartridges and obviously my tyre levers, so they weigh in at 214 grams. I'm going to keep one of the CO2s on the bike because there are times when you can lose all the air even with a tubeless, and you may just need to top off the air. So I'll keep one CO2 cartridge. All I need to replace those with is a plug-it kit at 26 grams. So that's a total savings in my spares bag alone of 188 grams, which is quite considerable. Now the plug-it kit has this little needle here with the groove in the center of it. This enables me that if I can't get a puncture to seal because it's too large for the sealant itself to do the business, I can then actually put one of these little rubber bungs into that needle, and we can push that through the tyre, and that will actually hold the tyre and hold the pressure, and then we can either sort that puncture out when we get home or just slice the little end off, and that will actually be the permanent fix. So that's our bike now set up for tubeless tyres. Everything that we've used in the video today is available on our website. The link is always in the description below. It's a great way of supporting us and the channel to be able to do these upgrades to show you. We're now going to take this out for a ride. We're going to give it a puncture along the way and see how it rides. The first noteworthy thing I've already noticed with this setup is I'm running 700 by 28C tyres on this setup now. Originally this bike had 700 by 25, and that subtle difference in air volume is really noticeable. These are way softer to the road. I've gone over a few little bumps and divots in the road, and it's really flowing over them beautifully. It's a marked improvement. I can see why larger volume tyres have become so popular in recent years. This is actually a much older bike, so there's slightly less spacing within the frame to allow for bigger tyres. It's always a risk fitting bigger tyres like this to allow in enough clearance on the frame, but you've just got to try things until you're happy. And obviously with the bigger tyres and being tubeless now, comes the added advantage that you can run lower pressures. So I was running 80 psi on the old clincher tyres. On this setup I'm running around 60 psi, so much lower pressure, and it's noticeable. It really is on the bumps and things. It really is noticeable how much smoother this is with these Super Team wheels and the Cannondale tyres. I think they're actually one of the easiest tubeless tyres I've ever set up. And often when you first put the tyres on, it can take a couple of rides for them to bead tightly onto that rim, so they may deflate overnight. You may ride them a couple of times before it really seals it up. With these, I marginally overinflated them. I actually inflated them to 80 psi. This morning when I checked them, they were still there. They hadn't let any air at all. So great combination Cannondales on these Super Team wheels. So I deflated them slightly for the ride. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stop and talk you through the process to take when you do get puncture. You have to think about tubeless tyres slightly differently to tube tyres. You will still get punctures with them. 90% of those will seal up without you ever even realising you had a puncture. But then you will get the occasional one where you have to have a thought process to solving the problem. So we're going to stop and I'll talk you through it. So I've put the valve here at the 6 o'clock position. I'm going to puncture the tyre dead opposite that just here. So I'm just going to literally push this through it. Now you have to think of these with a slightly different principle to a tube tyre. The key with tubeless, unless you're in a race, is not to continue riding. It's to stop immediately as soon as you hear it go. You may see the spray of the sealant, you may hear it. Stop the bike immediately, and once you've got the puncture, turn that down to the bottom of the wheel so that any sealant that's left in the tyre will start to coagulate and fill that hole, and will stop the puncture almost immediately. And then I will also get out a puncture tool to show you an immediate repair that you can do on the side of the road, and then you can deal with tidying up the tyre once you get back to your workshop at home. So here we go. So we're going to puncture this now. Right, so that's in now. You can see that's in. Immediately I let this go, you will hear it let go the air. So that's now leaking. So I can bring that round to the bottom of the wheel to allow the sealant into that hole. I will then get out my tool for repairing the puncture. So this is what we've got here, the tool we showed you on the bench. I already fit one of the rubbers into the tool for such an occasion as this, but you just want to make sure it hasn't stuck to itself, so just pull it out like this. So that's now ready to go in the tyre. Turn the tyre back round. You can see here we've now got some sealant weeping out of that hole, so I can put this into the hole, push it right in, so it's right into the tyre. That will give us a repair until we get home. Now you can cut these off on the side of the road, or you can leave them there, but again, while I'm tidying up, that's now repaired. I can bring that round to the bottom of the wheel, allow it to coagulate again, and that will absolutely be fine to ride home. So we put our tool away into our toolkit, and it doesn't take long at all. So you can see here, no fluid coming out. This we can cut off when we get home, but we can ride that home totally confident. The tyre is still absolutely firm, and it literally takes seconds, and that you would only use this in the event of it not sealing up. That was more for demonstration purposes, but you saw the size of the hole I put in there, a good 3 or 4 millimeters wide. Like I say, these you can cut off once you get home, and it'll be absolutely fine to ride. So let's ride it back to the shop. So we're now off and riding again. We've effected the repair on the wheel there. I can't feel that at all. You would think maybe that would give a little bit of bumpiness, that little tail, but you can't feel that at all. Once we've cleaned that up, this tyre will do thousands of miles more. and is absolutely fixed and solved without any problems on the side of the road. That is the beauty of tubeless tyres, is the speed with which you can repair them. They don't stop you getting punctures, but they certainly make repairing them a whole lot easier on the side of the road. So I do hope you've enjoyed this video today, talking you through the tubeless tyre setup and what to do when you do get a puncture. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment of your experiences with tubeless tyres, whether you've gone for them yet or not, and maybe the best save they've ever given you. But in the meantime, I'll get the bike home. We'll speak to you again very, very soon. Bye for now.